What's interesting about Digital Underground is that's exactly where Tupac came from.
Yeah, he's in that amazing movie, Nothing But Trouble.
Hmm.
Yeah, when they perform for the judge with the penis nose.
You're talking about Digital Underground.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen that movie. Are you being serious when you say that it's a
Oh,
good movie?
I'm totally well, no.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's
I
amazing.
thought you were riding the fence there.
No, I think it's amazing, and the rest of the world thinks it sucks. So I don't know. One of us is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome to Accelerativ Thrust, everybody. I'm really glad you're listening to us.
Yeah.
My name is Dan,
My name is Eric.
and neither one of us are Prince.
Our what?
Prince, you know that song, My Name is Prince?
No, I don't.
Really? You don't remember that?
Is it by who's it by?
Prince. Yeah. Oh, wait.
I actually
me.
don't know the song though.
No, for real?
It's a good one.
Well, it was a huge hit.
Really?
My name is Prince.
Was it on the Bat Dance?
And fuck it,
single?
it might have been. I don't.
That's all I've ever heard. I don't. Prince is okay, but when you mix in Batman, pure gold.
I actually saw a zine once that was exclusively about Prince. It was a zine about Prince. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I think basically all it was just talking about all of his records.
Did they make a lot of copies of it?
I have no idea.
A lot of Prince.
A lot of Prince. Yeah.
God. I'm sorry. I'll take this more seriously.
No, that's fine. You're really stumping me today, though. Normally I'm the one who's not. Okay, so, okay, I got you. So, My Name is Prince. It's actually by the New Power generation and Prince,
okay.
but it's on the Love Symbol album.
Wow.
You know when he changed his name to the symbol.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My name is Prince, and I am funky. It's seriously what it. Those are the lyrics. So
wait, and he says, "And I am funky." That's how it works.
I mean, unless
and I am funky. No, I like it. I really do like it. Yeah, it's good.
I believe so. I mean, let me fact check this though for a second before we move on.
What else does he have to say about himself?
Hold on. Let's do an analysis here. My name is Prince, and I am funky. I got it right. My name is Prince, the one and only. I did not come to funk around till I get your daughter. I won't leave this town.
Wow.
In the beginning, God made the sea, but on the seventh day, he made me. He was trying to rest y'all when he heard the sound like a guitar cold getting down.
Wow. And then is there a kick-ass guitar solo at that moment?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I tried to bust a high note, but I bust a string. My God was worried till he heard me sing. And then
wow. Okay. So okay. Well, I mean that's fine. That's fine. Oh my God. I'm just reading along too. And everything's just more about God.
Yeah.
Him and stuff. And then it says, when you jumped on my D.I.Y.
Yes, I noticed that too.
That is, boy, I'll sink you like the ship Poseidon adventure. These might be the best lyrics I have ever read in my life.
Yeah, they're amazing. I mean,
you're bumping dentures to be cocksure. What is bumping dentures? Wow.
You can only assume that that's referring to like a biter. I mean, I don't know. You're bumping dentures. That is I don't know. That doesn't sound like a good idea. You shouldn't bump your dentures. Like I would think you would break them if you were bumping them.
I'm really trying to figure out what's going on, but
well,
it's insanity.
as soon as you listen to it,
I'll get
all will be revealed.
Okay. All right. Sometimes that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, do you remember when Prince, like right before he died, like a week before, he had to make an emergency landing in our region?
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had to make an emergency landing because he had flu-like symptoms and they were getting really bad. He was on a flight home from, I don't know, wherever, probably London or something. And they had to do an emergency landing at the Moline Hospital.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then literally like a week later, he died.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah.
Did you say Moline?
Moline. Yes. Moline, Illinois.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've wanted to die after going to Moline a couple times.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Not a big fan, huh?
Just kidding. QC peeps. Just jokes.
QC peeps.
I like Moline just fine.
I remember there was a pretty kick-ass coffee shop there that I used to play shows at.
Oh, what was it called?
I think it was called the Chai Cafe or something.
Wow.
I don't remember. Then it got changed to something else. Peabody's got changed to Peabody's.
Oh, I've heard of Peabody's. Yeah.
Or maybe, you know what? It might be the other way around. I think it was Peabody's. Then it got changed to the Chai Cafe. But
well, as long as it's not the Pea Cafe.
Well, here's the thing about that. I want to say that you played there before, Eric.
Yeah, it does sound really familiar.
That Gimpy show that our enemy Chuck uploaded to YouTube.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I believe that was at Peabody's.
Yeah. Now I remember. I mean, I remember the video. I don't remember actual occurrences in my life.
My assumption is you were probably lumped into a bunch of screamo hardcore bands at that time.
I mean, makes sense.
Yeah. Where else were you going to play unless the Pulsars would have invited you on tour?
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Which I don't think they probably were. I mean, they did well, I guess, but I mean, outside of the us and the people listening to this show, I bet there's probably 25 other Pulsars fans.
Yeah, there's not very many. I would suspect.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, they're great. But
yeah, well, I think, they put out that one album and then that was it. I mean, but they did perform on Oddville on MTV.
Oddville. Oh, did that have puppets and shit on it?
Yep. Had puppets and stuff.
Probably not shit, but yeah, I kind of forgot that existed till just now.
They always had cool bands on there. They Might Be Giants was on there too. Wow. They did Till My Head Falls Off.
Great song.
And
one of my favorites.
Ween were on there and they did The Golden Eel.
Great song.
Yep.
One of my favorites.
And then Pulsars were on there and they did Submission Song.
Great song.
Yes, absolutely.
One of my favorites.
And then I want to say Soul Coughing was on there too. That I'm not sure.
What song they did?
I bet you probably Super Bon Bon or Soundtrack to Mary or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? It would have been during Irresistible Bliss, because that's about the same time that all those records came out.
Nice.
96, 97 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know why I remember this pointless shit. Because, I mean, I could try and act cool in front of a bunch of people and be like, well, dude, do you remember that time when the Pulsars were on Oddville? and I can see how that works out for me.
That's kind of, I can relate. Yeah. I can relate. I talk about shit all the time that no one in the world cares about at all, even on this show.
This is the perfect podcast for us, Eric.
Yeah.
The content is a bunch of people who just don't care. So you might as well sit back with your sparkling water.
What flavor do you have today?
I have the lime and watermelon. Aha.
Lime watermelon. Wow.
Mm.
I just have the Aldi grapefruit.
Oh, that's good.
It
That's
is.
good stuff.
It's like a non-sweet squirt,
Yeah, absolutely.
which was my nickname in high school.
Sweet squirt. Do you ever drink soda at all anymore? Like real soda at all ever?
Every once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
And I like a cream soda here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you ever a fan of Squirt?
Well, no. I mean, I had it and I thought it was okay.
The Ruby Red Squirt to this day, I think, was one of the best sodas ever. And I can never find it anywhere anymore.
Huh.
I don't see it anymore. But I used to love Ruby Red Squirt.
So that was your nickname.
So not sweet and Ruby Red. Dude, there we go.
I'm already sick of us. My name is Prince and I'm not sweet.
Yeah.
Word.
Or you could even go a step further and you could do my name is not sweet. And then you could start talking about God. Or the devil. The devil might be more your thing. I don't know, Eric. But I don't know. I mean, I don't
know. Yeah, I'm kind of into the devil.
Right. Yeah, I'm sort of into the devil. I was thinking, there was this thing that we used to do on the show, and it was talking about records.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was cool.
Yeah, you want to bring that segment?
Yeah, you want to bring it back?
Let's bring that segment back. Come on, everybody! It's
Chuck is texting me right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Chuck says, and I know it's Accelerativ Thrust. Oh, he was going to go to the d.i.y show in Madison and hold up a sign that said Accelerativ Thrust sucks.
Did he just text you that?
No, he texted me that a while ago, but it changed it to accelerating thrust. And then now he just wrote back and said, I know it's Accelerativ Thrust. Spell check just fucked me over.
Wait, so he's following up on this from like a few days ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
So really important and interesting to mention.
Because he told me that idea as well. Because d.i.y just played in Madison.
I see.
Just got back from a tour, I believe.
Wow.
They have a new album coming out though.
Really?
Uh-huh. d.i.y.
That's cool.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, we'll have to give it a listen.
Chuck, enemy of the show.
Yes.
Enemy of the people.
Worst. And now he's texting me in the middle of the show. What an asshole.
I wonder if does he know that we're recording right now?
No.
He might though, because I might have told him that.
Oh, man.
But I told him that like sometimes it's Thursdays and sometimes it's Saturdays. So
oh, man. Well, I better not start getting texts on Saturdays. Actually, that is when he texted me, but at 9:00 at night. He sent me a picture of the actual clown from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And then all these video games that have to do with Satan and death.
Huh. So I would assume Doom is on there for sure.
Well, no, they're old games. Satan's Hollow, Sinistar, and Death Race. They all look pretty good.
He's a really odd enemy to have.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. He's up to something. We're gonna have to.
I don't know what his deal is, but
we're gonna have to figure him out now.
All I can say is I am sick of hearing from him.
Bam!
I look at my phone, it vibrates. I'm like, okay, now what is going on in my life? And then it's just Chuck being, quite frankly, just being stupid.
Very stupid.
I mean, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
And it's just a waste of my time and my energy. I just wish he'd leave me alone. Oh, Christ.
Okay, so we are going to be reviewing things.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
bringing it back.
So I'm starting off then. I'm talking about my pick.
Yeah.
First. Okay. So
come on, everybody, it's record time.
My pick this week is from a group called Thirdface. The name of the album is Do It With a Smile. Thirdface are a hardcore band from Nashville. And I got to say right off the bat, this record is one of the best, I shit you not, hardcore albums I've heard in a very long time, but also maybe even one that maybe I've ever heard. I know that that's a big statement to make, but I really do like this record. A lot of boxes are checked here for me when it comes to what I'm looking for in a hardcore record. The vocals are just almost blood curdling, or not even almost, just straight up blood curdling, and just never let up throughout the whole record. I mean, it's raw and grimy. The riffs are insane. Drumming is excellent. I really like the drum sound. It's got some angular stuff going on with the bass. I also think the bass tone is really good. That being said, it's a very grimy sounding record. It's grimy as heck. Raw and just really intense and in your face. And that's what I like. That's how I like my hardcore. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I also really like about it is I do feel that tone-wise, it's an exploration of a lot of different ideas and textures that maybe you don't hear so much in hardcore. Although I will say that I've kind of noticed that that's sort of been happening a lot more with a lot of the new sort of wave of hardcore bands. We've talked Turnstile, The Armed, Bark, Dose from Iowa. And one of the things that I like about kind of the new crop of hardcore bands that I'm hearing is that I feel like they're kind of wearing maybe their influences on their sleeves that aren't just necessarily coming from hardcore, but coming from a bunch of different places. That being said, I do think that this is pretty much a straight up, for the most part, an in-your-face hardcore record. And I think that's exactly what they were trying to make here. It does get kind of weird sometimes. There's sometimes where, and I don't know if this is the production, I'm assuming it's probably like a pedal or effect that he's using, but I do hear, I think it might be a phaser pedal, like phasers and stuff like that going on with the guitar tone. So it does get kind of a little psychedelic at times, maybe even kind of reverby. And it does kind of create this almost, I don't want to say ambient, but I guess I am, like an ambient sort of feel to the production, but it doesn't get like as weird or dissonant as like The Armed, for example, or even Turnstile. I think this record is much more raw than something like that. I also think that there's some ideas here that I really like that maybe play with like improvisation in particular, like the end of the track Ally, where for almost 2 minutes, they're kind of doing this like loose composition, which I'm assuming is probably improv, but I don't know, it might have been planned. And so there's almost like an element of like, I don't know, early Butthole Surfers to that or something. But that's only for like that moment on that record. It's not, the whole record is nothing like the Butthole Surfers. But then also there's like the interlude, which is like this really nice instrumental sort of break. And it serves exactly what it's titled. It's an interlude. It's basically like an intermission from like the rest of the record. So it's like this instrumental kind of slowcore piece that I would say if you like stuff like Slint, that probably wouldn't be like too far from that. But the rest of the time, yeah, it's pretty much just like angular, in your face, very raw. I've already said it 100 times, very intense. But from the beginning, I think the indications are there that there's maybe going to be a little bit of, you know, just a touch of experimental stuff kind of going on, or at least tone wise. Also, that kind of dissonant sort of sound, or, however you want to call it, it does kind of create kind of this haunting tone to it a little bit. That being said, the distortion and feedback and, just the intensity of the instruments being played kind of, overpowers that a little bit. But there is just kind of like this sort of interesting way that I feel like they kind of dialed in this sound that I don't think is too far away from some of the other, like, hardcore bands that are doing just a little bit of experimentation today. Yeah, so I mean, overall, I think this is just an interesting and exciting take on hardcore. I went through a phase where I really was not checking into hardcore very much at all. I got into a lot of this stuff around, I don't know, we'll say between like 99 and 2003. And then I just kind of stopped for a little bit because for a little while, it just kind of seemed like everything was kind of going stagnant for a little bit. Like all the bands that I was hearing kind of just started sounding the same for a little while. And maybe I could be completely wrong. It could also just because I kind of dived out of that for a little bit and I just wasn't giving anything a chance. But it seems like lately there's just been a lot of hardcore that has been catching my eye, and this is definitely no exception. So yeah, I mean, I think if you like Botch and you like early power violence stuff like Orchid, I would also say Closet Witch, Converge. I would even say Psyop or Dryad if you're talking like, local stuff. I mean, I think you would like this band, and I can only imagine that they probably put on a very intense live performance. So what do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I liked this quite a bit. It did take me, I had about 3 false starts though. I don't know what it was. I think this week I was just kind of like not in the mood to hear something aggressive. And so yeah, I started it like 3 times and I was just, every time I was like, I can't do it right now. But then I did finally listen to it. And I feel like the thing that really hooked me and made me keep listening and ultimately enjoying it was that this is presented as basically something that's played continuous. Let's see how to say it. It's played from beginning to end is how it feels. I don't know if they actually recorded it live, and if they did record it live, if they actually recorded this all as one piece or like in one take or whatever, but every song on here and every part on here leads into the next part, and it just feels kind of like a 22-minute long freak out. And that part is really what made me start to latch onto it, because I was into the 3rd song before I realized even past the 1st song. You know what I mean? And so yeah, anyway, it's intense, it's really fast, it's pretty wild, it sounds pretty out of control. But then, like Dan mentioned, sometimes throughout the record there's these moments where there's these long pieces, long musical interludes. It adds a different element to it, and it makes it end up having some elements of being really pretty at times. Maybe that's a strong word. I don't know. Really like contemplative though, just like brooding and mellow and subtle, which is something that when you hear the rest of the record, you wouldn't think is even possible. But they kind of do that. Like I said, I loved how it feels like it's all one track. I thought that was a really cool way to approach it. But yeah, it has elements of metal, hardcore. I would even say some psychedelic stuff in there too, especially during those interludes. My background with hardcore is way more limited than Dan's. I didn't have to take a break from it because I was never that super into it. But when you add these experimental elements to it, it doesn't feel the same to me. Like of course, there's some connective tissue musically, but as far as the presentation, and the entire mood and feeling of it, like to me, this doesn't have anything to do with like tough guy stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's not even a similar style of music. And unfortunately, because of my limited exposure, when someone says hardcore, my mind instantly flashes to just Boston tough guy kind of stuff like that. And so this is nothing like that. The way it's presented is super smart, super experimental, super emotive. Yeah, I loved it. I would say of the stuff that I know, it reminded me of Converge. It had elements of that. Bad Brains with sort of off time and this real quick switching between elements and parts and things like that. It actually reminded me a lot of SSD Control, who's like an old school hardcore band that a lot of people don't listen to. I don't think their discography is very deep. But it had a lot of elements to that, just the wildness of it, how out of control it was, and even vocally, it reminded me a bit of that. And then those longer sort of interludes and things like that, and the brooding nature of it and the vocals reminded me a lot of Khanate, which I would definitely not say is a hardcore band. But all those things together I heard in there. And like Dan said, the performances are stellar. They're just amazing. They're super confident. No one in the band is lacking on any level. And it's presented just like it's like an alarm. That's how this record felt to me. Like like a call to arms or something. Like it really just was a blast of intensity. And yeah, I really liked it. So
that's a great way to put it. It definitely sounds like it's an urgency. There's a real urgency to it. And that's like what you were saying to your point, Eric. And I'm sorry if I'm interrupting.
Not at all. No, I was.
But to your point, that's what I really like about a lot of the new generation of hardcore that I'm hearing is that it doesn't present itself as tough guy. There's a lot of, I feel, a lot of different stuff coming from hardcore that maybe wasn't always there, in a lot of the new. I feel like it's a similar thing kind of with like hip hop, there's just less of maybe a macho sort of thing going on in it altogether. And when it comes to heavy music, that's the stuff that always spoke to me more so.
Yeah.
And talking to you, I know that with you as well. It's I think there's a lot of hardcore bands that are just as influenced by Jesus Lizard as say, I don't know, Suicidal Tendencies or something, or whatever, or Agnostic Front or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? Just there's so many different things happening. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it definitely had that Jesus Lizard sound on the bass, by the way. Yeah,
absolutely.
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, the bass playing was just amazing. It's just wow. Anyway.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, speaking of intense, wild, insane, aggressive music, my pick is nothing like that at all. So my pick for this week is by a group called EXEK, EXEK. The album is called Advertise Here. Came out this year. I thought this was a cool record. I don't know how to say it. It's really comfortable letting you live in the songs for a while. And that's always something that I really enjoy above anything else. I really like people to be confident enough with their songs that they just kind of let you stay there for a minute and just and like I said, live there. EXEK, I don't know. It's not easy to go into great detail about it because I feel like in its subtlety, it's really overt. Like I said, the songs are what they are and they last as long as they last. They're very strange kind of songs, strange moods and feelings and presentations, really angular at times, really rhythmic, almost that, like I always say, motoric kind of rhythms that are just driving and don't really stop or change. But at the same time, a really super mellow vibe as well. There's elements of no wave, new wave, I would say dream pop, even like goth stuff to an extent. I don't know if people consider goth a genre of music, but I think there are some things that can fit in there together really well. Yeah, I feel at a loss with this because it's like trying to describe beach house or something. Like it's not, it's so mellow and so just what it is. It's hard to find specifics in it. So as always, when I'm at a loss of actual words, I'll just tell you about some bands that it kind of reminded me of. Cigarettes After Sex, in the sort of mellow, ethereal kind of feel to the whole thing. Broadcast, as far as the vocals, the organ sounds, synth sounds, things like that, and just sort of the presentation overall. Belle and Sebastian, as far as the vocals and how they were presented, and even maybe some of the melodies. And those are sort of the tangible, slightly approachable bands that I can think of. The other ones might be like Psychic TV, Tuxedo Moon, ESG, because there is some funkiness to it. Yeah, so you see where I'm going with this. But yeah, it's presented really well. I love everything about it. Very cool guitar work, cool synths, organs, electronics throughout. I enjoyed it, and like Dan said about the last record for him, this one checked a lot of boxes for me, and I just really liked it. Yeah, what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, this I listened to this probably about 4 or 5 times.
Mhm.
And I was and still kind of am in the best ways, just at a loss for words. But it's like I just think this is a really, really cool record. It's not a record that, I mean, 5 years ago, maybe even 1 year ago, that if you would have played me something like this and said, you're eventually going to listen to this 5 times in 1 week, I would have just laughed in your face. Like there just would have been no way. But every time I went back to it, it got more and more intriguing to me. So I'm going to, I took some notes and I'm going to try and explain what this record meant to me the best that I can. It's very soothing and oddly hypnotic at times and has a eeriness to it. But I also kind of felt like almost like a buildup to something that never really happened, if that makes sense. Like I almost felt like the person singing vocals was just on the cusp of just going off the edge, but never quite got, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it almost felt like, let's say that you, I don't know, you're driving down like the interstate, it's super late at night, and you fall asleep for a couple seconds behind the wheel, and then you're in the median, and you wake up and you're like, oh crap, and then you like hit the brakes. Like if that, you know what I'm saying? Like it almost had that sort of like, and I don't know if it was the tone or presentation of like just the songs, but I'm glad that they didn't go off into, crazy chaotic territory, because I think that would have ruined it, honestly. But it almost sounds like a panic attack coming on, but then like, you find a way to control it before it happens. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great description.
That's kind of how it felt like to me. So it was like a build up to something that never happened.
Nice.
Overall, I would call this record like, if I had to describe what this record is, if somebody took pop music and blasted it with a bunch of radiation, and then that pop music turned into a mutant, that's what this is to me. Like, and when I say pop music, I don't mean that it's pop music in terms of like Britney Spears or something. It's like pop music in terms of like Brit pop or something, or like it has elements of dub, it has elements of krautrock, post-punk, funk, and just a lot of interesting composition choices. I think, one thing that I really liked, and I've been kind of delving further into like krautrock, and a lot of that I credit to you, Eric, because that's kind of stuff that I've always kind of had a curiosity about, but I never really actually delved into until, I was kind of like, I had to listen to it, which is great. It's great that, like I had to listen to Can, for instance, you know what I mean? The songs start with like one progression, and then a whole bunch of other progressions are kind of layered on top of it. So like in that way, I think Kid A from Radiohead would be a good comparison. My favorite track, hands down though, is Unseasonable Warmth. Like the bass line throughout that whole song is just so cool. It's very repetitive, but there's all these like different compositions, and it's like, it kind of, I feel like in a weird sort of way that the way that the songs are structured are almost like a hip hop beat. And because it's very repetitive, but then there's all this other stuff that is kind of going on top of like the repetitive rhythms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another thing that I really thought was really interesting was like the lyrics to the first proper song, I'm After Your Best Interest. And maybe this is why I kind of feel like it was like, it sounded almost like the audio equivalent of a panic attack coming on. Because, I mean, I don't know what exactly he's singing about, but it does seem to be like some sort of midlife crisis or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting that. And I don't know, maybe I'm hearing the lyrics wrong, but is he singing like, "Are you pregnant?"
I don't know, actually.
Okay. Because it sounded to me like he's like, "Are you pregnant?" Like he's asking like an ex girlfriend or something. But I don't know.
I don't know.
It just
that's the funny thing about the vocals on this record is like, it's very clear. The enunciation is very clear. Everything about it, you can hear every single word. But if you asked me, what did they say in any of these songs? I have no idea, because it moves, it moves quickly, and it moves so staccato. It's like da, 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 da. Those are how the words are presented, and so it almost becomes another like subliminal instrument or something. I don't know.
Absolutely. So on the track, back to my favorite track, which is Unseasonable Warmth, there's also an element of that really reminds me of almost like a 50s like love song, or 50s or 60s like oldies or something. I don't know, like a Buddy Holly song or something, or like a doo-wop song or something in a weird sort of way. There's like that sort of element. And I also think the production, because at times it almost sounds very nautical, if that makes any sense. Like it sounds like it's recorded underwater.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's got this really weird, almost like lethargic feeling to it. Like I'm just picturing like a blue room or something, and it's, I don't know. That's just kind of how I'm viewing. But it's such a fascinating record. If I were to recommend this to some friends of mine that maybe aren't into this kind of thing, I would just tell them the best way to do it is just to, just listen to it. delve right in and don't have me describe it to you. You know what I mean? Because I think if somebody would have tried to describe this to me, I would have lost interest. And by the way, I'm looking at the lyrics right now.
Yeah.
So this is the part that I heard. So listen to this. This is really interesting. The various pictures, the many problems, like lips that drag along the ocean floor and pick up every whore with fishy breath. Now I imagine there's a few. Your old mate might know. You're looking pregnant. Are you pregnant? Now I imagine you don't mind having surgery. Routine procedure. I still need you to be still for now.
Wow.
Yes.
That's some wild stuff, isn't it?
What is, like that is, if I were to sit down with the singer of this band or the guy who sung this song, I would be like, what are you talking about? Right. Because honestly, for some reason, and this doesn't happen often, but for some reason, just the way that was presented on the song caught my ear. I was like, are you pregnant? What kind of, what? I don't know. It's curious. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it.
No, I think it's cool. I think it's like I mentioned, cigarettes after sex. It's kind of the same way. Like if you put something in a subtle enough way, you can say almost anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I don't know if you've listened to much cigarettes after sex, but it is perverted stuff.
I have never heard cigarettes after sex, but I would imagine with a name.
I love them.
With a name like Cigarettes After Sex, it wouldn't surprise me that they're perverted.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it's one of the worst band names of all time. But it's truly amazing music, and I love it. But if you really listen to what they're saying, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah,
this is similar. That is some wild stuff.
It's some weird stuff. And so, it totally seems like that's totally the definition of like somebody, to me, that's like going into the mind of somebody who's just about ready to lose it. Because to me, he seems to be singing some pretty out there stuff. Yeah. That has to do with, your new mate and maybe jealousy and maybe feelings of resentment. I'm not really sure.
I don't know.
But aside from all of this, because I don't have, just like you with hardcore, I don't really have a lot of reference points for this kind of, like, I feel like you're way more well-versed, and we've talked about this, krautrock, dub, post-punk, even no wave. The three bands that came to mind were Beak, Can, for sure, and then also Retros.
Sure.
Now, Retros is way more chaotic than this, but it just in the song structure, in the way that the songs are just kind of almost like they're almost designed to make the listener feel a bit uncomfortable. There are times where it sounds like they're just purposely, and this is not in any way supposed to be a negative thing. In fact, I really like this about it. They're really challenging the idea of what a proper note for this part is supposed to be, or a proper chord change is supposed to be, or whatever, There's a lot of different ideas as far as like song structure, I feel, going on in, Retros, Can, and Beak, and with EXEK. And so I'm sorry, I'm taking like way too long talking.
It's okay. It's funny because a lot of times I think we just present our opinions about things and we move on, but sometimes we actually get into a discussion about a record, and I think that's just fine as well. And
absolutely.
Sometimes a record is so hard to pinpoint that that's what you have to do.
And that's this record. I think I'm going to be spending more time with it because I'm really wanting to find out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and they've been doing it. They've been doing it for a while. They have a lot of music out, so I am looking forward to going back and listening through the rest of it as well.
It's intrigued me. And the other thing that's interesting is that this is on Castleface Records.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
The guy from the OCs he's the guy who owns that label.
Okay. So kind of a psych thing. They are also from Australia. So,
yes.
That element of psych too. I mean, I'm sure that they must play with all of the, a lot of the people we've talked about from that Australian psych scene and stuff. So
absolutely. 100%. Yeah, this was a really interesting pick. This one really intrigued me. And that's kind of why I described it earlier as like, if pop music, if you could take like a living form that is pop music, all pop music that we've ever heard, and then just blast it with radiation, and then have it come back as like this mutant.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. And I don't know, that might be a ridiculous description, and it is. It's
a mellow mutant.
Yeah, exactly. A mellow mutant. Well, a mellow mutant that is almost going to have a panic attack. So what's going to happen is it's going to be like the Thing from, not the Thing.
The Blob?
No, from Fantastic Four. What's his name? Ben Grimm?
Yeah.
The Blob.
Isn't that he's called the Thing, isn't he?
Yeah, I think
Just
he is.
Thing,
I think he is called Thing. But anyway, like, when he kind of has his like fits of rage, but then like the other members of the Fantastic Four hold him back. That's what this is. Yeah. This is the Ben Grimm of pop music.
Wow. I love it. I like that. Wow.
It's like, hold on, you can't get that angry, but I know you're upset about, I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm at a loss for words.
Wow. So I think, if you're listening, you should give this record a shot. I mean,
absolutely.
If it makes us this confused, you're obviously going to like it. So
yeah. And a lot of you are probably like, well, I'll like anything that confuses Dan.
Yeah. You want to talk about the local record?
I want to talk about the local record.
All right, cool.
This is local?
Yes, absolutely.
Super cool. I don't know why I got so positive all of a sudden. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, though? We should be that positive about this record because it's awesome.
It is.
Absolutely.
I'm already ruining it. Yeah. I'm ruining the surprise. But anyway,
I don't get energized by music that much anymore. Like, for real. It's probably because I'm old and jaded, and just kind of a dick these days. But so anyway, this episode, we're reviewing Penny Peach Ego Party. Now, this album came out this year, but quite a while ago. Maybe we're a little behind on it. But I don't know. I'm going to try to put it into words, but it really was super cool. Like, surprisingly, not because of any preconceived notions that I had about any of it, just when you're really taken aback by something because it's so cool. And that's how I felt about it. Penny Peach, it seems to be, I don't know. I don't know who all played on this. So, and according to Bandcamp, it only listed Ellie Hoffmeyer as Penny Peach. So I assume that she played everything. I might be wrong. The performances are amazing on here. It was mixed by Avery Moss, who I only tangentially sort of know. They would come in and shop at the music store I worked at, and we would talk about synthesizers a lot. They're also in a project called Die Mad, which I'm excited to check out soon. But yeah, Ellie Hoffmeyer is Iowa City musician. Penny Peach has been going for a little while now. And unfortunately, I think I've seen him, but I think this is the first time I've sat down and listened to something by him. Like I said, I was pretty blown away by it. Just very, very cool all around. Super inventive songs, not only stylistically, but arrangement-wise, performance-wise. They feel really thought out and expanded. Just really cool songs, smart arrangements, and the production just feels fully realized. Like, every sound considered, changed, and perfected until it sounded exactly the way it was supposed to sound. the feel of the whole record changes and moves, but is cohesive at the same time. It's really kind of druggy at times, but soulful also, kind of psychedelic at times, but also kind of like no wave at times. And at other times it just rocks the fuck out. Like it really does. The guitar solo on Don't Wanna destroys, and it's amazing. The instrumentation, like I said, and performances are just really cool. The vocals are so great, whether they be, and they move around and they change a lot. Sometimes they're doubled vocals or even with a harmony. And at those moments, it's really mellow and pretty. Other times it's just belted out, just really cool, confident singing. I tried to come up with some people that I thought the vocals kind of sounded like. And, it's a short list, maybe a little bit like Liz Phair at times when it's being a little mellow and druggy. Patti Smith, as far as just the raw delivery of it all. And I've listened to this maybe 4 times, and every time I was like, I know who this reminds me of so much, and I can't think of it. And then today I finally did. The vocals remind me a lot of Chrissie Hynde from The Pretenders. And I know that a lot of people are going to say, ooh, The Pretenders, but The Pretenders were pretty cool. They're one of those bands that were sort of betrayed by their own popularity. They become known as something else. But really, Chrissie Hynde's voice is throaty and powerful and confident. Also just lazy enough to be cool. And I felt like Ellie Hoffmeyer's vocals were like that, but also just their own thing too. I can't express enough how confident and sure every element of this album is, and honestly, I can't wait to hear more, and I can't wait to go back and listen to more of it, and I can't wait to see it live, having sort of listened to it a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could say more because I really think it deserves that, but I guess I kind of said everything I need to say. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, this was a very cool record. And it goes a lot of different places, as you said, Eric. It starts out, the first track, Catacombs, sounds kind of like a grunge punk song or something. So it wouldn't sound too, like, the riff wouldn't sound too out of place on like a Nirvana record, pretty 90s sounding riff heavy punk. But I also don't want to, I'm kind of hesitant to say that because it's anything but a throwback. It's totally just like its own thing for sure. But from there, it delves into bluesy noise rock. The vocals get really soulful at times. It does get a little weird sometimes too, which I really like. Sometimes I can't tell if the drums are actual drums or drum machines, which, I mean, that's a weird way to put it because drum machines are actual drums as well, but electronic drums, I guess, is what I meant to say. And yeah, some of the songs kind of display this almost like, I'm trying to think of a way to put it, like almost like a bedroom pop sort of feel to it, but not too outsiderish. And it definitely is not like anything lo-fi or anything. Like, I think the production on this, it absolutely just kills. It sounds fantastic. I agree with you 100% that it sounds like early Liz Phair at times. Another thing that I kind of heard was like Juliana Hatfield kind of going on as well. The guitars at times are very dirgy and fuzzy, and I really like it. Kind of like, but in a much different way, like Thirdface. There's an urgency in this record, I feel. Her voice is just really powerful, and oh man, is it impressive the range that she can hit. Because yeah, sometimes her voice is just really, really nice. It's just she can just sing her heart out, and then it's just like, next thing you know, she's kind of doing this like yelling sort of thing, and Yeah, so this touches on everything from punk to indie rock to blues. Yeah, just a lot of range, and I can't really say anything else about it except that it rules. I would say that if you like Nirvana, White Stripes, even, but the one band and vocalist that this really reminded me of, Christina Martinez from Boss Hog. I definitely heard a lot of Boss Hog in this as well. So I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Boss Hog or not.
Yeah.
But there's like this sort of absurdity about Boss Hog that I kind of feel is maybe present in this record as well, but in a really, really good way. And when I say absurdity, I kind of think that like the content is sort of meant to be that way. I don't know. That's my perception anyway. But it's a killer record, and I agree with you. I really want to see this live because I've actually watched some of Penny Peach's performances on YouTube before, and it doesn't. I was kind of surprised to hear this because a lot of her earlier performances didn't really sound like this to me, and that's because I wasn't paying attention enough, and I liked what I heard. But when I heard this, I was just like, wow, this seems to be heading into a different direction. And it's a very cohesive record. And it's very much a record that I could sit down and listen to from beginning to end, no problem. It's fantastic. I also really like the song, like a really good example of, I guess, absurdity factor is the song If the Shoe Fits. Yeah, this is a really cool record. So if you like all that stuff that Eric and I mentioned, you need to check this record out because there's some good music being made in Iowa right now.
For sure. Like, honestly, if you listen to this show, I don't see how you wouldn't like this record. I don't honestly, I can't imagine that. So, but
Can you imagine dragons though?
Let me see. No.
No, okay.
I just see iguanas with wings.
Oh, that sounds terrifying. Like, are they big iguanas?
Big guanas is
Iguanas.
what they're called.
There used to be a Mexican restaurant in Hills, Iowa that I used to eat at called Iguanas, Mexican food.
Was it good?
Oh, it was delicious.
Are they still around?
Nope, they closed.
Shoot, I was hoping maybe they could sponsor our show. Oh man. All right. Well,
folks, thank you for listening, and please check out everything that we've reviewed on this episode and all of our previous episodes, and then let us know.
Of which there are 82 at this point.
There are 82 episodes.
I think. Yeah. So
this will be episode 83.
Yeah. So catch up, fools.
Catch up. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions for us or have any ideas for things to review, or just want to talk to us, or any local area groups that you think we should cover or interview, just shoot me or Eric a message on Instagram or Facebook. I'm back on Facebook, y'all.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Back
That's
in
for
style. So
yeah, Facebook. It's in style.
It's in style. It's the new style. You know?
Yeah. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1.
All right, guys. And now we're out. You guys all have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, all right.
Wow, yeah. Yeah.